facing a taking. CPS enforces chains. Families left forsaken. They hide behind the badge of protection's hollow claim, but the truth reveals a system built on power and shame. We stand united now, no longer silent in the fight, exposing every failure beneath the glaring light. We're burning down the system, torching lies and deceit, fighting CPS corruption from the courthouse to the street. Make it hard for the tyrants who tear our children away. Rise up with the Punisher. We will not obey. Burn it down, burn it down. Justice lights the flame for every broken family. We reclaim our name. They come with a warning, with warrants forged in fear, destroying sacred bonds while the public remains unclear. Due process disregarded, rights trampled underfoot. The Punisher podcast calls out the truth they try to mute. From New Hampshire halls to courts across the land, we document the abuses and take a righteous stand. We're burning down the system, torching lies and deceit, fighting CPS corruption from the courthouse to the street. Make it hard for the tyrants who tear our children away. Rise up with the Punisher. We will not obey. Burn it down, burn it down. Justice lights the flame for every broken family. We reclaim our name. No more hidden hearings, no more stolen lives. The revolution starts when the people open their eyes. Legal warriors marching, voices loud and clear. Accountability demanded, the end of systemic fear. To the parents in the trenches, to the fighters who persist, your stories feel the fire that no bureaucracy can resist. We amplify the message through the podcast and the mic, turning pain to power under freedom's guiding light. We're burning down the system, watch the old order fall, fighting CPS with courage, answering freedom's call. Make it hard, make it harder, until reform is won. The CPS Punisher rises. The battle has begun. Burn it down, burn it down. Let the flames ignite the way for families reunited in a brighter day.
They came with a clipboard and a cold disguise, wrote a story full of fear and lies, called it neglect with no proof in hand. Just another family they don't understand. Mama cried while the children screamed. Nothing was the way it seemed. One signature, one judge, one file, and they tore that home apart in a little while. They say it's justice, say it's care, but too many broken hearts are lying there behind those doors where no one sees. Families fall down to their knees. Paper chains and courtroom walls, children crying down the halls. They take the baby, split the blood, and drown the truth beneath the flood. Money moves while the parents pray, another child gets taken away. Voices silenced, lives destroyed, while hope gets treated like a toy. Foster checks keep rolling in while the broken homes can't ever win. The kids need love, the kids need care, but the system leaves them scared. In their fathers fighting, mothers torn, living every night and morning, trying to prove what should be clear, that love was always standing here. They say it's safety, say it's right, but too many souls can't sleep at night, caught inside bureaucracy, a machine without humanity. Paper chains and courtroom walls, children crying down the halls. They take the baby, split the blood, and drown the truth beneath the flood. Money moves while the parents pray, another child gets taken away. Voices silenced, lives destroyed, while hope gets treated like a toy. No child should be a paycheck line, no family erased by design, no mother begging through the pain just to hold her child again. The truth survives, the truth will rise beyond the reports and scripted lies, and someday all the world will see what happens behind protective agencies. Paper chains are breaking down, truth is shaking every town. Families standing hand in hand, fighting back across the land. No more silence, no more fear, no more stolen childhood years. Love is stronger than the lies, and broken hearts will someday rise.
All right, everybody, welcome to CPS Punisher and Friends podcast. It is Saturday night. I'm obviously your host, the CPS Punisher. I'm here tonight with my co-host Becca. She'll be out here in just one moment. Well, we had some guests and they all seem to have run away. So I guess it's just Becca and I at this point. So what's up, Becca?
Oh, not a whole lot, just the same old, same old.
It seems like our guests ran away.
I think they did. They must not have liked your music,
right.
Aaron. They must have gotten scared when you're.
Yeah, it could have been the new tunes. I guess maybe a little too aggressive. I don't know. Yeah, here we are in the CPS land. They're still just as brutal as ever. They're still taking a kid. In this time that those songs are taken, you figure in the time that it took us to play those 2 songs to get people into the podcast, you figure 7 kids were taken. Think about that. 7 kids were taken and removed from homes in that 7 minutes that it took to play those songs. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
7 families have been ripped apart. And it's Memorial Day weekend. So you know damn well that they were trying their hardest to rip through and take as many kids as they could to get a 3-day weekend in. And it's really disgusting what they do. It really is. It's very irritating. It's very disgusting how they get to get away with essentially kidnapping and murder and all of these things. It's still by me. I don't know. But we know that they do it, and we know that they're doing it through the courts. And yeah, I mean, it's just a terrible thing. You know that they lie, right, Becca? That they lie in these courtrooms.
Oh yeah, 100%, all the time.
Right. Well, I want to hit on this one here because this one, like all of us have our own things that we kind of advocate for. And my biggest thing is the substance abuse. This right here, this video I'm about ready to play, sums it up for you, because do you know that if you are positive on a drug test, that's just one part of the puzzle. They can't just remove your child because you are positive on a drug test, because there's many, many things that are involved with that. They can't just, there's got to be a counseling that you have, and there's a lot of things. But here's the Here's a
The
little
child
video
has to
that
be in imminent danger and immediate danger.
Correct. So if you've had your kids taken from you because of substance abuse, well, right here, this is one you're going to want to save and go back to. Check this out.
Imagine that, Nance.
We have repeatedly recognized substance abuse alone is not sufficient to assert jurisdiction, even when a child is aware of it. Reversing jurisdictional judgment based on parents' methamphetamine use due to lack of evidence of current threat of serious loss or injury. Reversing jurisdictional judgment based on mother's use of methamphetamine and marijuana due to lack of evidence that mother used drugs while caring.
You know what? Maybe I'll read these out loud. Maybe that would be better if we do it that way. Let me pause this here. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about these. Let's see here. Copyright disclaimer. Let's go to this first. It says, we have repeatedly recognized that a person's substance abuse alone is not sufficient to assert jurisdiction, even when a child is aware of it. Reversing jurisdictional judgment based on parents' methamphetamine use due to lack of evidence of current threat or of serious loss, or that might be where it stopped.
Or injury.
Or reversing jurisdiction based on mother's use of methamphetamine and marijuana due to lack of evidence that mother used drugs while caring for the child, or that her drug use had any effect on her parenting. So basically what that's saying is this woman failed the drug test. There's no proof that she was high or on drugs when anything took place with her child. They're not saying that she has an addiction problem. Basically, the only thing that they have is a test, or maybe it's not even a test, because there is a difference between screens and tests, people, and you need to know these things. A screen is not admissible in court. A test is, and then the test, there's a whole array of things that go on with that make them null and void also, but they are not accurate. They're not 100% by any stretch, and that's why they can't be used as the sole purpose to remove your children, even though they're doing this and they're getting away with it. You've seen that, right, Becca?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yes, 1,000%.
Sorry, my voice decided it was going to crack, I guess. But 100%, yeah. And I was also told by I was also told by my attorney back when I had my case that actually they can't do anything unless they can prove that you did it in front of your child. And
Right.
with your child they have to prove that you did it in the presence of your child and you were caring for your child in that sense. And that it was debilitating your ability, or it was impeding on your ability to parent properly.
Right, but they get away with
And
this all freaking time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Methamphetamine
Let's see
and
here,
marijuana
what's the
due
next
to
one
lack of
saying?
evidence that mother used drugs while caring for the child, or that her drug use had any effect on her.
But we should put
okay.
those. I'm taking that case off of you.
Intoxication.
Yeah, of course we should. You know what this could be used for? Evidence that a child has been exposed to a parent exhibiting the adverse effects of intoxication is not, in and of itself, a basis for juvenile court jurisdiction over a child.
Correct.
So, if you're sitting there and they're like, oh, we now know, like you just said, that you were high in front of your kids. Well, even that itself is not enough for them to over jurisdiction of the child. So just because you're intoxicated.
And yeah.
Go ahead.
Facts Over Lies said drugs were not even in my case, but I was ordered to take drug tests for him to come back. And they do that. And you know what you do in that whole sense? You object. I did it. I objected. I asked the judge, can I object to this? There was no accusations of me even doing drugs. So why should I have to submit to something that there wasn't even no accusation of?
Right.
And the judge said, yeah, you can object to it. I said, well, okay.
Well, I mean, at least that's the thing too, is what people don't realize is, and this is what's important that you just said that, is that people don't realize that when you object, if your lawyer doesn't object to something, it's not on the record.
Mm-hmm.
So that means
it's not appealable.
that went right by. Well, that means that you, in essence, even though you didn't agree to it in person, you to it either.
Yeah, so it's
So when that's looked at by the judge, when they go back into their chambers and they're trying to figure stuff out, they're going to say, "Well, the lawyer didn't object to this stuff. So is this not true? Is it true? Like what's
mm-hmm.
going on here?" So these are important things to make sure that your lawyer does for you when you are doing these things. Make sure the
And
lawyer
here's the
knows.
thing
Mhm.
In Ohio, that hearing that I'm talking about specifically was the shelter hearing, was the 72-hour hearing that you don't have counsel for.
Right. That most of the times
So
what
you
they
don't
try to
even
do
have
is they try
counsel
to
for.
waive that hearing for you. That was done in our case because the bar
Yeah.
is so low. It's a preponderance amount of evidence there. So the bar is so low. What some attorneys feel or they think is that something could come out in there that's held onto your record for a long time, for the whole proceedings, and it's able to make it into the record because the bar is so low. I think that's bullshit. You should get the chance because that bar is so low to go in there and hammer these people. Now, if I would have known now what I
Mhm.
knew or knew then what I know now, I would have definitely. Our attorneys did that too. They waived our right for the 72-hour hearing based on those premises. And if I'd have known that that's what was going to take place, it would have been a whole different ballgame.
So, and here's another
Um,
thing. Like, I was talking to Wallace, and I just thought about this when you were just talking about that. Like, and when I said something about the shelter hearing, okay, so Wallace has told me that, when you go in there and your attorney is supposed to essentially say, like, was there adequate food? Was there adequate water? Was there utilities? You have to have those four basic needs in you have to be able, but you have to be able to put that CPS worker up on the stand. So here's my thing. I'm just sitting here thinking about this in Ohio, when you were at that shelter hearing, okay, that is the time that the CPS worker gets cross examined. That's the only time they get cross examined. And you don't even have counsel at that point. So if people don't know this and people aren't like, well, wait a minute here, like, because it's a 72-hour hearing. So regardless, people need to at least be taught on on the four things that have to be proven in order for them to even retain jurisdiction over your children.
right.
And that's, do they have food? Do they have electricity? Is there food in the fridge? Is there electric on? Is there water? Are their basic needs being met?
Mm-hmm.
And they need to be
And then
taught how to cross
still they
examine
have to get to the
yes.
imminent danger point.
Yeah. Because, well, and when you prove that they had all of these things, then you prove that there was no imminent danger. Essentially,
Yep.
that's what she was saying. It's like, she's like, if you go up there and you cross-examine the CPS caseworker and you say, "Hey, was there this, 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 and this?" And they say, "Well, yeah." Well, what do they have to prove? Because they can't prove imminent danger, imminent risk, or any of that when and they have all basic necessities that are required by law.
Right. So it's all games.
So
It's all games at their
doing that as well because, and like I said, we didn't have an attorney at that point, and it's come to light that that also is an issue because what these parents are literally sitting there in this, and like me, myself, and I'm sitting there in this courtroom, and here's this
Yeah, you're not a lawyer. You don't know what you're doing.
CPS. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sitting here like I'm in like this state of just like shock at this point. So I'm just kind of like staring off into space, just like trying to think about questions to ask because I didn't essentially know how to prepare for the hearing, because
Right.
I've been through this before, but essentially I knew how it was going to go, but I was also worried about because they took my kids on a Friday and then I knew Monday we were going to have a hearing. And they knew that I was on them like white on rice, and I was like, "Hey, you better follow every step you're mandated to." So
Right.
I was waiting on that hearing. Well, it was like noon, and they were like, "Oh, the hearing's at 1 o'clock." But of course, I'm freaking out. I, I'm not even remotely even thinking about what am I going to have to ask the CPS caseworker,
Right.
and like
No.
it's going to be those things that these parents need to really learn because
Mhm.
it's you don't know. I mean, and especially if it's your first time ever dealing with it, you don't know what you're walking into. And sometimes people don't. I've literally had people tell me they've never even been inside a hearing.
Yeah, I was going to say that. What about people that have never even been inside of a courtroom at all? Period. Right. So I mean, that's
And
an
it's like, wait,
intimidating place to be. It's an intimidating place to be. You don't even know what you're going into. You're all a wreck because you've just lost your kids. You're not even
yeah,
thinking in the right mindset. You know,
no, you're not.
it's just it's not a good place to be, and that's why it's not even anymore. It's not even like, listen, if you're looking for us already, then you're already behind the eight ball. If you were searching and you found this show because you were searching for it, you're behind the eight ball because that means that they've already came and taken your kids, or that like something has already happened. It's nuts. But let's go on this list here a little bit. Evidence of a father. Oh, come on now.
Absent extraordinary.
Sorry about that. Evidence of a father's serious alcohol abuse of which the children were aware did not create jurisdiction because of the absence of evidence of resulting danger to the children. Perfect. Why, when this guy was drunk, are the kids in danger? What happened that made it so that the kids were in danger when the father was intoxicated? This is, again, questions that you need to know to ask. They're going to say, well, the father was drunk. Okay, and? I mean, if the kids are 10, 11, 12 years old, well, they can bathe, they can wipe themselves, they can do all of the necessary things that they need to function as a young human being. They know how to operate a phone. Half of them, 3/4 of them probably already have their own phone. They can call 911. They can do all of the stuff that they need to do that an adult can do that's supervising them. So again, where is the danger for the kids?
And they also in the comments, the one girl said, "I cannot pronounce her name, and I'm not even going to try." Realistically, she has court soon. They want to terminate her parental rights and don't want to help with financial part for her to complete services they require. They cannot require you to do services and then penalize you when you cannot afford them.
No, they cannot.
Point
And
blank,
actually, all the
period.
services that they require are supposed to be paid for by them.
Yes, by the federal government
Right.
because they get
So
Title
that's
IV
part of
funding
their
every time they
Title
take
IV funding.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know if they've already gone up for the TPR. I don't know if do you have an echo? Do you hear me echoing all of a sudden?
No, I don't. I don't hear you, Echoed.
All right. I don't know if at the Title IV funding, once you get to the point of the TPR status, if that changes, that they have to pay for your services then, because I know that the funding changes from reunification to adoption. So I'm not sure if at that point maybe that's why that they stopped paying for them. But again, like she said, these services are supposed to be voluntary, so they're the ones that are forcing you to be voluntary. It's up to you to pay for them. I think not. They put you into them so they can pay for them. All right, let's see what do we got here. Becker, we got people backstage.
Circumstances. One, I believe. Let's see here. Do nope. Gigi has joined.
Okay. So
it says Gigi joined, but I don't
here's
see
the
her.
next one here. All right. Absent extraordinary circumstances, a parent has a liberty interest in familial association and cannot be violated without adequate pre-deprivation procedures. What does that mean?
Which means due process.
Due process, but that means that you've gone through a counseling, a full in-depth counseling situation where the counselor is now able to come and suggest, not that they think, not that it's not their
that they know they have
means that they know they've gone through stuff. You've proven to them that you can't or you're dependent on things. So it's not just like a one-time go to this lady's hearing and talk to her like they try to do. It's you've gone through these services, you've gotten analysis by a professional, and they're saying, Your Honor, this person is a full-blown drunk or drug addict, whatever. We don't feel like the child will be safe in their custody. And then even by then, they can't take solely what the recommendation is of that person. They have to rule again by what, Becca? The law. That's right, Becca. Good answer.
The law, sorry.
No, good. We're good. All right. On the evidence. All right. Wait, hold on. Sorry, this one. Pre-deprivation process. On this record, the evidence was insufficient to assert jurisdiction over a case based on mother's substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So much pain. Plaintiffs were arguably deprived of their right to due process because the intentional use of fraudulent evidence into the procedures used by the state denied them the fight to fundamentally fair procedures before having their child removed, a right included in procedural due process.
Which is a stipulation. I love it. I love these people. These people are just, it all leads back to stipulations and waivers, and it doesn't even dawn on anybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Becca. You are absolutely right here. Let's see. Next. This one's dragging on a little bit here. Okay. CPS conspires with the Assistant Attorney General, who then in turn has the judge issue a warrant or orders that are unlawful and unconstitutional under the law.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We already know that. And you know how they do it? They're MOUs. Oh, imagine that.
Oh, wow. And then they stip you from there, right?
Yep. It's not, and here's the thing, is that, okay, so these are ALJ, they're basically ALJs. They work for a corporation. They work for a business. This is a business transaction. Like everybody, they all, in the sovereign citizen theory and all that crap, they say, oh, it's all a contract. I mean, realistically, yeah, you break it down, it is all a contract. And you have to base it in contract law. Well, then you still have to dabble in the family law aspect. But they essentially, their employer is not the judicial branch. Okay, that's the legislative branch.
Right.
They're paid by the legislative branch.
Yeah, something seems wrong there.
I mean, so technically they're a business, okay? So they're allowed to have communication with each other. And that's why those MOUs say that, because a judge is technically, okay, so an ALJ, these administrative law judges are like the family court judges. They're not all the way administrative law judges. They are administrative law judges per se, but they also have judicial power because it's been delegated from your state's constitution. And so they themselves can make these rulings and these findings and all of this, but they still have mixed in the administrative aspect because they essentially operate on the administrative aspect of the whole system, which is they're allowed to do this, they're allowed to do that, they're allowed to have communication, it essentially it lowers their burden, it lowers the evidence, the proof of evidence that they have to have, it lowers everything because they're operating as though it's not they operate as though it's not a judicial proceeding and it's an administrative proceeding. But us on the outside see it as a judicial proceeding. And people need to stop seeing it like that, because just because you put out an order doesn't mean it's constitutional. Does not mean that at all. I mean, that order could be, full-fledged flop. And here you are following a court order because it's constitutional. Right. No, it's not. No.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. People don't understand this stuff, and we need to educate them, and we need to make sure that they do understand that this is what is going on. All right. Next one up here is the mere possibility of danger does not constitute an emergency or an exigent circumstance that would justify a forced warrantless entry and a warrantless seizure of a child. That one's important right there, folks. That one's really, really important because so many times they operate on, well, what if? Well, there is no what if. It has to be it did. It did happen. It did take place. These are the things that were dangerous that happened to that child for us to now come in and do all of the things that we're doing to you guys.
That we have firsthand evidence of, too.
Right.
Because they have to
Yep.
have firsthand evidence, because if they don't, then it's hearsay.
Right. Exactly. People don't know this stuff. People don't know this stuff. Then your kids are pretty much taken. That's it. Like that's the end of the line, because they're gonna lie. They're gonna do all of these things to make you believe that they were right in what they were doing and that they can do this, and that's wrong. This is why the police don't step in. This is why the majority of the time you see the police standing idle by, because their job right there is to protect the caseworker in case something goes on, or to protect you. But in most cases, for the caseworker's sake. It's got to be.
The police generally throw up their hands and say, "This is a civil matter."
Right. Mm-hmm. But you
that's
don't
what they
see
do in
them
custody
stepping right in and
disputes.
grabbing those kids, for the most part,
Yeah.
anyway.
And that's what they do in custody disputes. If you call on because your child wasn't returned on a visitation, and you call the police, and they're like, and you're like, "Well, I have a court order, and I'm supposed to," and they're like, "It's a civil matter. We can't touch it." Oh, but CPS comes to my house,
Right.
and you're gonna
You're involved neck deep.
Yeah.
It's really it's very confusing to the common person. And I say common person by meaning it's very confusing to people that, like we said at the beginning of this, aren't involved in the court systems. They haven't been in the courts. They don't even know what the hell is going on. All they know is that their kid is either under scrutiny or they're missing because of the kidnapping that they did. It could be one of many things. So if you don't, and you're not aware of these things, when the moment arises, which it looks like chances are getting better and better, that everybody, so now it says, now the stats are this: by the time a child is 18 years old, there's a 75% chance that they've had some interaction with CPS.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they're leaving the poor folk behind, and they're stretching their arms out to everybody, because there's only so many people you can kidnap in the poor section.
Yep.
You know what I mean? 7.5 million calls last year. 7.5 million anonymous, or not anonymous, but phone calls came in for people to say this might have happened. And then what do we figure? The statistics show that it shakes down to the numbers of something along the lines of 400,000. Now, you imagine that you were wrong in your job that much? Holy smokes. No doubt about it, you wouldn't have a job anymore. Out of 7.5 million, only 400 of those thousands were found. And that's not even found that they're guilty of doing anything. That's found to be that there might be a situation at hand here, that there were exigent circumstances that we needed to remove a child. So even then, there's still a chance that you get your child back.
Justification is supposed to be.
Jurisdiction is warranted if a condition or circumstances are such as to endanger his or her welfare. That is, if they give rise to a threat of serious loss or injury. That is, if they give rise to a threat of serious loss or injury. Not because your refrigerator doesn't have something in it. Not because there's spiders in your corners. Because there's a matter of serious loss or injury. And even this, I don't even know, because then what you would come back at is the case law that we just read a second ago that said that you can't use what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
So even now,
and essentially people need to start also thinking about like the definitions of these words, because these words aren't what these people think that they are. So welfare, what is the legal definition of welfare? What's the legal definition of threat of serious loss or injury? I mean, that's something, people have got to realize too, is that their wording, it can say this, you read this as this is how it is. So, you've been taught in school that this means this. Well, toss that out the door, because that's not, if you're going to have to be in this system, you have to learn how to operate in it.
That's right.
And you have to learn their language in these definitions.
Did we miss something there at the beginning? No. State employees who withhold a child from her family infringe on the family's liberty of familial association. Can you explain that one, Becca? Because I really can't.
So if your your judge is a state employee, your CPS worker is a state employee, withhold the child, they have a court order. They say, hey, you know, this is where we're putting them in foster care. This is where we're putting them. So, and you're not allowed access to that child. They just cut off your familial association with your child. And then they
I
infringe
get
on
it.
your liberty, your family's liberty in that whole sense, because
And
they are cutting off
that's
your
the thing.
child.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I finished. I said because they're cutting off the ties to your child. They're cutting off that familial association and that familial bond.
So we need to keep using that word liberty, people, because the word liberty is the one that actually states in the Constitution, right? Life,
Mhm.
liberty, pursuit of happiness. So if you're
Mhm.
going to argue and stand on your
In any
constitutional
court.
rights, insert them or whatever, you need to use this word liberty because that's what they recognize. Again, like Becca said, using the words, knowing the words, and using them properly. So they didn't take your rights; they took your liberty.
Mhm.
Let's see here. An officer who obtains a warrant through materially false statements which result in an unconstitutional seizure may be held liable personally for his actions under 1983.
Mhm.
That means so.
And an
They've
officer
worked
isn't just a
above
police
and
officer.
right. It's an officer of anything.
Mhm. Officer of the court, officer
The
of the state.
court, right. Yep. It could be whatever.
But see what I mean about officer? Like,
Truant officer.
yeah, I mean, see what I mean about the word officer? Officer
Mhm.
doesn't just mean a police officer. But everybody
Right.
thinks that, right off the top of their head. Like, oh,
Right.
police. No, not just police.
Nope. There's many officers. There's so many officers. Anybody that works in the office is an officer. You know what? What is the definition of officer? Why don't we clear that up? Let me get that out of the way
Well,
while we're right here.
okay, so here's going to be the thing. So it depends on your state.
Well, let's just
Because
get the big. What's Black's law say about officer?
I don't know, Darren. I don't have my Black's Law in front of me. I don't even have my
Well,
I don't even have a
you
Black's
have a
Law.
little computer device. I'll get it. Hold on.
I know I got it. Hold on.
All right.
Gosh,
I don't know
such a
if you,
pain.
yeah, Becca and all of her
Such a
knowledge.
pain in the bum. Hold
Black's
on. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
law. And
You
any of you
looking it
that
up
don't,
as I'm looking it up. Why am
I
I?
don't have an actual book anymore because mine burnt up. I had many of them, but you can find these online. Let's see here. If you go to Thomson Reuters, you can get. I think that's where you can get the definitions and everything from Black's Law. Let's see, Black's Law Dictionary. Well, you can buy it from here for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's like $80, $90. But
Yeah, it's 80.95. They're
then
worth
even
having.
here's even bigger kicker. What is not trump what is in your state? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because so whatever's in your state is because it's based because the states are sovereign. Now you have to think about this. The states are sovereign from the federal government. Each state is sovereign. So that way, when that state says, okay, it applies to in this whole sense, like if you go to your state statutes or your state codes, whatever the hell that you want to call them, you go to that, and literally, usually in every section, there is a definitions section. Read those,
Mhm.
print them out. I don't care.
Yeah,
Do
well,
something
Black's
with.
Law is just a reference. This isn't a. It's not
Yeah,
a federal standard. It's
yeah.
just a reference. So
So,
cases that would be. But you're right in what you're saying. That's why I've always said, if you're going to argue the Constitution, argue your state's Constitution first, then
mhm.
your federal Constitution from there. Because it's no matter what. I know everybody says no. It's the law of the land. They have to abide by it. Yada yada yada. I know this, and I know it's true. But they still fight it like a Dickens. And
Mhm.
if you want to argue about and pick up your state's constitution, because most likely they rival each other, and they have to
And it says that Black's Law's
abide by your
dictionary,
state's constitution.
Black's Law's dictionary defines public officer generally as a person who holds a office of trust, an authority, or command. The legal definition of an officer depends on the context. There again, because the word is used in multiple areas of the law: constitutional law, criminal law, corporate law,
Mm.
administrative law, and law enforcement. But at its trust, duty, or command under lawful appointment, election, or delegation, and who exercises power on behalf of a government, corporation, court, or organization.
All right. So anybody that works for the government, including your schools, anything else, that have been delegated the
Mhm.
powers to do whatever, to take care of your kids or whatever, is considered an officer.
And it even says here, it says legally, an officer is usually distinguished by several elements. The position is created by law, charter authority, the person has delegated authority, the person exercises discretion or sovereign power, the position involves ongoing duties, not mere tasks, and the office often requires an oath, commission, or appointment. Examples include police officers, court officers, corporate officers, military officers, probation officers, administrative officers, and executive officers of government agencies. Under U.S. constitutional structure, a public officer generally derives authority from the Constitution, statutes, lawful delegation, or appointment procedures. Oh, it goes on. But yeah, it includes the sheriffs, the marshals, correction
Right.
officers, probation officers. And but officers is just like that one simple word
Yeah.
can literally throw everything off.
Mhm.
So, because I know under Ohio under Ohio juvenile code, my juvenile court judge, okay, is actually the administrative what is the administrative officer. He is the administrative officer. It's literally labeled that in the statute. An administrative officer.
So there we go. There's our definitions. So it could be a lot of things as the officer. I guess that's what we're saying. Oh,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, but people can't just be like, "Oh, it's an officer." That's automatically the cops. No,
right.
no, it's not.
DHS has the burden to establish a nexus between the alleged risk causing conduct or circumstances at risk of harm. So not only do they
Has the burden.
have to say that right. So they can't just say even that the action is something is, but what led to that action?
Mm-hmm.
So what were you like if you spanked a kid, they can't just you spanking your kid isn't warrant enough. It's saying, oh well, the kid was running out in front of a car, so the mom spanked them to. This might be a bad example, but overall, this is an example I'd like to use because you don't know why someone just spanked their kid, but the kid just went out in front of the road, so someone decided that spanking their kids they never again was the reasoning. But that's
More or less done out of fear and out of.
Correct.
I mean, it's done out of fear and out of.
I mean,
like,
you knew if you. Right.
Like,
Well,
you
we
better be
grew up.
glad that I hit you instead of the car.
Correct. Like when we grew up, you were spanked. Like spanking was a thing. And you know what? If you saw your friends get spanked, you never did what they did.
Nope.
And sometimes you never did it. You know what I mean?
Nope.
And you know what? We all know the difference between overdoing it.
Yeah. 100%.
Let's look here. We know whether or not a parent's child or if they're just getting spanked. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like you can definitely, if it's closed fist repeated times, double tap, like
Kicking,
on top of them, mounting them, just smashing the hell out of them, that's abuse.
Yeah.
That's but a quick slap across the face or maybe even two, may not be a warrant of a abuse charge. Before you
Definitely
open your mouth.
And I mean, I know that Ohio Supreme Court literally has made a decision on corporal punishment and essentially authorized that this girl called her stepmom, I believe it was, a bitch, and she smacked the fuck out of her right in the face. And they said that was okay. I mean, corporal punishment. They said that that was warranted and that she damn well deserved it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what do you, I mean, people may not think that that's okay, but keep your nose in your own business and you won't have to worry about it.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Where are we at now? Let's see here. The risk of harm must be present at the time of the hearing and not merely speculative.
Mm-hmm. It can't at the time of the hearing. That's why when they talk about they go back,
I
like
never knew.
Wallace has said, like Wallace has told me specifically, like she went into this big old thing when we have our meetings and stuff. She went into this big old thing. She's like, it cannot be what happened 6 months ago. It has to be now, right now. It
And
cannot
still
be,
current.
yeah. She says it cannot be from, okay, so they can't hold it over your head because essentially every time you go to court, it's a new trial. Did anybody know that? Like, that's a new trial. And technically, you're supposed to be able to, at that point, cross-examine your witnesses for your CP, your CPS caseworker and all that. Does it happen? No, because the attorneys treat it like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's a little trick for you all, too, that I've learned. What you need to do, so you're not just cross-examiner caseworker, is you put them on your witness list. That means that when it comes time for your trial, you now are in control of what is being asked of this caseworker. So put them on your witness list. Tell your lawyer, put them on your witness list. Because I don't know if you guys know what cross-examining is. It means that the state will lead with what is being, what they want the caseworker to say.
Aaron, half these people don't even
they've
get to
gone
trial.
Right. Well, if they
That's
do.
the problem.
Right. Well, if they do, and when they do, your caseworker needs to be put on the witness list, because then you lead because you can only cross-examine based on what the questions were asked of them by their lead.
Yeah.
Right. So you can only ask questions based on that stuff. So you can't come out and be like, okay, on the 10th of this day, this, when you're cross-examining. No, unless they mention those specific things, you can't bring that up. So you might not even get the chance to ask the questions that you wanted to ask in a cross-examination.
And see, here's the thing. So but here's also is it's not all like criminal court. So like that's more or less criminal court. See, they're more lenient in family court though, which is also a good thing on your behalf because of the simple fact that when you do cross-examine, it doesn't because when I cross-examine my caseworker, I didn't care. I don't even remember what that freaking attorney said. What the CPS attorney said. I don't even know what she said. I didn't even care. I just had questions to ask, and she answered them right on the stand. And the magistrate that was presiding over the hearing
her
was
and her lawyer for allowing that to happen, right?
Yeah, so
because they could have objected in those situations.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Right. So you got away with that.
And if the attorney doesn't know what he's doing, they're caught off guard.
Well, because let's just mark on that for a second. Most of these, when you're given these lawyers by the state, most of them aren't even family law lawyers. They're, a criminal lawyer, they're a bank lawyer, they're a business lawyer, they're like my guy taught my lawyer that in my case that the state gave us was he taught business law at this university.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
Like he hadn't even touched the family law.
They don't know that whole area. Yeah, and that's what's bad is that they don't know that whole area. And like Wallace said, even told me, she's like, she's like, they don't teach you this in law school. They do not teach you family law in law school. She straight told me that. They do not.
In my case, it was included in like one of my beginning courses last year, I think, or the year before, like different types of jurisdictions and laws and courts. They don't have any, you're absolutely right. There's no specific family law.
There's no expanded.
Or they have them that you can take as, extras and stuff, but they don't have anything that's a prerequisite or a requirement that you take to graduate.
Yep. And that's just,
and it's so definitely a specialty.
Know. Yeah. And I mean, and the
it's
attorneys
definitely
don't know. Yeah. Attorneys don't know. They just don't know because they've never had to deal with it. It's not one of those things that's practiced in law school, and they don't prep themselves on it. And they so when they're just like thrown in as a public defender, they're like, "Oh, okay, family law. Okay, well, I guess I'll just go in there and do what we all do, and we'll just stipulate, and then
Fake it till we make it.
yeah, we'll we're gonna fake it till we make it. Yeah,
Fake it till we
100%.
make it. Yeah. And that's really a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not good, because these attorneys are obligated to do so many other they need to maintain their bar license and the upstandings with the courts and everything. They're required to fulfill so many pro bono hours a year. And that's how you even get these lawyers, is by, like they got, I don't know what the actual amount is. I'm sure that it's different in each, like state and everything. But they have to fulfill a free legal work to maintain, your licensing, which there's not even a license, but there's a membership to the bar is what there is, to maintain.
And did you know that you can actually register to
standing
be a
with
bar
us.
member? If you get on their website, you can actually register to be a bar member, like as a normal person.
Yeah, it's $150 a year. I'm a bar member.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a bar number. I'm a bar, and I haven't even
Bar card
taken
holder?
my, well, I took my bar for Maine, but I don't even have my ID yet. So, but yeah, I have a bar card.
JA says you have to pick a category after doing the basic law stuff. Also, pro bono is not required.
In Maine it is. I know that.
I think they're in the back room actually if they wanted to come out, but if you're ready to bring somebody.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, I think that is that. No, is that who's that at? Let's see. There we go. There's JA.
All right, Jay, welcome to the show.
Uh-oh.
All right.
She's typing.
JA, you there?
I don't know if the mic is working or not.
JA, how are we doing? Welcome aboard.
Or I think she's typing. She's typing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you have to pick a category after doing the basic law stuff. Also, pro bono is not required. State to state. Yeah, I think you're right. It is a state to state thing. You're live with us right now, JA, if you want to come out and talk. Well, actually, you're already here and talking. You're on the live screen. So speak. Oh, okay,
right.
got you.
Well,
We'll put you back in the dark. Well, we appreciate your knowledge very much. Very, very much. Thank you. Yeah, I think Jay's absolutely right. I think it is a state-to-state thing. So you just want to be very, pay attention to who you have for your attorney, what their specialties and
everybody needs to have an attorney. Okay, whatever. I don't recommend, myself, and I don't recommend anybody ever have an attorney. I will say, you know what, if you want to go get counsel, that is completely fine. But people need to start learning these procedures to just be able to comprehend what they are doing legally. Because regardless of the situation, you are you need to be able to follow the process to see and be able to say, hey, what are you doing? This isn't right.
Right.
Like, because you just let them do it for you, and they will 100% take full advantage of that. And they will do it for you.
Right. Because people are people. At the end of the day, people are people. Right. At the end of the day, people are still people. Crazy. People might be irritated by doing things. People might not like you. Like you don't ever know. So when you put someone in that driver's seat, and this is a big driver's seat to be put in, this is a death penalty for you and your family.
Yeah. This determines what happens to your family. This isn't like like the guy in Illinois said, the state representative said, this isn't a simple traffic ticket. This is a decision that is being made that has lasting consequences.
For a long time.
Mm-hmm.
This is removing
Can
your
be.
family lineage. This is there's just so many effects of these hearings that I can't believe that they're so simple and they're so just brushed off by the public. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
what baffles me. Of course, I was the same way. I thought the same thing when this first started with me. I thought that I was the only one in the world that was ever unconstitutionally having my kids stolen. I thought this was going to be easy. I thought that I would just swoop into the freaking courtrooms and be the man myself, and this is going to be that. And there's no way in the world that the judge isn't going to hear this the way that I have to say it, and so on and so forth. And boy, was I wrong.
Yep. And
Boy, was I
people,
wrong.
and people don't realize, because people do have that, that whole mindset of, okay, I know that. No, you don't. You really don't. And you don't know what you're really in for. So
Right.
it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, how do I prep? How do I prepare? Just be prepared to be totally annihilated and just be
Yeah,
completely diminished as a person and as a parent. I mean, but also learn to have a backbone and know your rights and know that what you stand on and what you stand for.
that's right.
Because if you
Yeah.
don't and you show any the slightest little bit of fear, they will suck it up. They're all succubuses.
Oh, and the knowledge. If you're going to go in there and also defend yourself,
Mhm.
you need to know this stuff because these judges may put you on the spot and they may quiz you on some of this stuff to see if you're even able to stand up for yourself and that you are of sound mind and of knowledge. So you
Mhm.
can't just go in there and start spitting stuff out. And like if the judge sees, like you just said, if the judge sees any bit of um like this right here, like I'm doing, if you don't comprehend the law and how it works and the system and all of that, they will question you and they can push you out of there. So another good thing to do is what they call second chair, is get yourself that lawyer that you're talking about, the pro bono lawyer or whatever, if you have to get it, but tell them that you want them to sit second chair, so that way that they're there to advise you, back you up, and you have a real lawyer right on deck with you. That's another option that you guys, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. All of this for educational purposes only, obviously. Let's see. Caseworker who is intentionally or recklessly withheld potentially exculpation from an adjudicated delinquent or itself was not entitled to qualified immunity. There you go. They lie, they bullshit. Anybody, pretty much anybody that breaks the Constitution or breaks those, they are not, they can't have qualified, which is only good for when you need to either go to jail or pay a fine. So unless you're dealing with those two things, it doesn't really pertain to much. GHS must have evidence of the type, degree, and harm to the child. That's pretty much self-explanatory. Of course, we all know they're going to misrepresent what took place. They're going to make it out to be this real terrible, whatever. My brain just went left. Sorry. But yeah, they need to provide all of what harm it was, how long it went on, and what effects it had on you.
Where,
And
when,
is it
who,
still
how, and why.
right? And is it still been? Because here's the thing: if you've already taken the steps to eliminate that burden of harm, then you shouldn't be there.
Yeah, because it has to
Because
be in
don't
the here
forget,
and
this
now.
whole thing is good. This whole thing is not based on whether you're a good parent, or any of that stuff. This is all supposed to be based on danger for your child to be in this situation. And people forget about that. People lose sight of that. You missing a child's visit is not imminent danger. It's not putting your child in imminent danger. And we somehow forget this. We allow the courts to maneuver around it like this. The private fundamental liberty interests involved in retaining custody of one's child and integrity of one's family is of the greatest importance. Keeping your family
But they
together is
sure don't treat
supposed
it
to
like it.
be. No, they do not. But that is supposed to be what the truth is.
That's a principle. That's what they're.
And that's it. There we go. We just went through that. So,
I want to read this comment. It's pretty long. It says,
sure, read
this
it
is
up.
before they removed. Okay, probably should start. They do everything by wait, hold on. I think I gotta go back further, even further. Nope. Okay. I see where I'm at. Okay, so it says they illegally removed my children, and I got foster care rights, and had I've had never had a background or nothing, and all of a sudden, same night, I have a warrant out of Davison, and the foster parents of their siblings, not the same parents, are police officers. And all of a sudden, I had a warrant out for my arrest for no reason on a CPS worker. The corruption is thick and the evil in Genesee County, Michigan. They do everything by threats or coercion. Like they told me if I didn't let them in my house, if they would just go to the judge and get an order to remove my grandkids, and that's from my supervisor. So that is, they do that because, well, they did it to me. They said, "Oh, we're going to go get a warrant." I said, "Go get a warrant. You get a warrant, I'll let you in." Whatever. Nope, they went and got an
Right.
emergency removal order. Yeah, that happens. Yeah, they do that. And then she said, and this was before they removed from courts due to one failed drug test to my son to a month and a half before the hearing. They won't drug test him now. I questioned the the Lydia. I don't know who that is, but or what that is.
Lydia,
The
I think
drug
it's supposed to be the validity, right? Maybe.
the drug test they won't drug test him. My personal opinion is I think the half sibling that are not my kids, those foster parent cops want a brand new baby because my new granddaughters is a month and a half old, and both my granddaughters live with me and my son their whole lives. My son had sole custody of my granddaughter, never had a CPS case, doesn't have a record, never had any allegations against them or nothing, and because a one failed drug test that they sent a caseworker out to do randomly, and my son consented, they removed them and then made me kick my son out as well. So I filed motions. I filed complaints with the Civil Rights Department of Justice in Washington. The lawyers won't answer either one of them. The mom or the dad. I'm so done. I'm filing everything I can, and they better hope they do something. They better hope because I'm ready to burn it down. I mean,
Yeah, Lord.
100%. It says, and then she says, no state law can trump a federal law. Is there a federal law? Um, he is dropping clean. I had no idea, so no signs, so no cause to test him, and is a damn good dad. So, oh gosh. Now be careful because Darren and I was just talking about this before the show. They can label you, and I know people who they have labeled abusive. What was it, Darren? Abusive. Oh God, what
Oh
was it?
yeah.
Abusive.
Put you in the insane asylum,
Abusive.
Bill.
What? What are you talking about? Me insane asylum. Well, yeah, they'll do that too, but then they'll take your kids and use it as retaliation because, okay, you hold on. Let me get the or no. I think it's this. Wait, here it is. Where I was talking of something abuse on court, abuse on. God, I can't remember what it is. Abusive use of conflict or high conflict behavior. It's something they use in custody and family court to describe parents who the court believes this is just under their belief that it can escalate the litigation if they file like excessive complaints, motions, repeatedly accuse professionals of misconduct, refuse co-parenting cooperation, or it creates instability for the child. Okay, yeah, we all know that's extremely subjective. Okay, we
Mhm.
because that's obviously one person's opinion or multiple people's opinion. But they can, if you file repeated grievances, judicial
Mhm.
complaints, misconduct, public criticism, even though it's a First Amendment right, refusing to do the stipulations, demanding evidence disclosures, excessive motions, recording interactions, refusing to cooperate with GAL recommendations, accusing professionals of corrupt or biased. They literally can turn
Mhm.
that and make that as that you are unstable. Like Darren said, that's where he referenced the loony bin. Put you in the loony bin because and take your kid. Don't give them
Mhm.
a reason to do that. Because I know you wanna be
Mhm.
batshit nuts. Okay? I mean,
Yeah, you definitely do. No doubt about it.
it's justifiable, 100%. It's justifiable,
Right.
but you have to be strategically smart, and it's all a strategy, and you and the only thing is, like it says, she said, "No state law can trump a federal law." Is there a federal law? No, there's not gonna be a federal law because federal does not step on the states are sovereign. Each state is sovereign. That is one of the things that the federal government said each state has a responsibility and a duty to control. We do not step in. That's why when you go to federal court and you file for habeas, they look at you and are like, "Psh, no jurisdiction, no nothing," because they don't like to dabble in family issues. And it is a problem. And I get where they are I get how they are saying that they don't have jurisdiction, but I also don't understand how they don't have jurisdiction when your rights are being violated.
Mhm.
Because when you bring it up and you're like, "Hey, my rights are being violated, there needs to be, some form of something," and the federal judge looks at you and says, "Oh, we don't have jurisdiction." You don't have jurisdiction over civil rights? I'm confused because I'm pretty sure that's your whole specialty. Like, that makes no sense. But and like Michelle said, she never had a shelter hearing. Most parents don't. And Virginia is 5 days, okay? Ohio is 72 hours. You have 72 hours to have a shelter hearing. That's it. You don't have it. But that also does not mean that they lose jurisdiction because they go over that time. And parents don't realize that either. Just because it can give weight to having it thrown out for lack of jurisdiction, but it does not fully say that jurisdiction is they don't have it now. It doesn't say that.
Mhm.
Like, people will say, "Oh, well, they lost jurisdiction." No, no, because the state still has under the state's parents patriae, they
Mhm.
still have that authority to look out for the best interest and the integrity and the welfare of the child and the children in the state. So they still will always have continuing jurisdiction, but how it's asserted and there has to be due process. Due process means they have to give you notice. They have to
Right.
give specific things. There's procedures they have to follow. If they don't, then yes, they do lack jurisdiction. 100% they will lack jurisdiction. How can they
Mhm.
not? They didn't give you advisement, that, "Hey, we're having a court hearing and you missed it." You know, if you're not served, that's a due process violation.
That's right. That's right.
They lose jurisdiction. They will, and they can. But if they can prove that you were properly served, then they still have it. Like people say, "Oh, just don't show up to court." Then they put a warrant out for your arrest, okay? And they can do
Right.
it, and it's legal, and they can do that because regardless, they had it. They did their part, and you were notified. And if even in family court, if you do not show up to family court because, "Oh, I don't wanna participate," okay, watch you be arrested the next time they see you. Next time the cops find you, they will arrest you because you will have a
Right.
your arrest.
They don't forget faces either.
No, and people think that that's all a joke, and, like, I'm not playing. I'm serious. They will do that and they can do it. And it's not an unlawful arrest because you essentially were ordered by the court to be there. You didn't go. Well, you willfully violated a court order. Like,
Correct.
even though you think they don't have jurisdiction, they do.
Right.
They will because of the parents' patrick.
Mm-hmm. And that's there's nothing you can actually even do about that
No.
as of this point.
No,
Which
there's
is
not.
sucks.
It's the state's police power. It's exactly what it is. And people are constantly on the sovereign kick, and it's like, okay, I get that whole aspect of it, but it doesn't work. It really doesn't. People have, I mean, court case. I mean, I've seen show me one case law where that sovereign stuff, the straw man theory and all that has worked.
Yeah.
Show me. Because I haven't seen one. I've seen it where they've cooked it out, where they've ignored it, where they've said, "Nope, this is frivolous. Nope, this is all that." Court order, as a matter of fact, I'm the one that made all the parenting time because it's supervised now, so I will play the game and do the right thing to protect my grandkids 100%. You guys are awesome. Thank you. We appreciate that. Lord help me. Yes, I am cooperative and smiling, but I have made my case clear. I will be firm but respectful. I did that myself too. My attorney used to tell me, let me be the asshole. Okay. I had a public defender that he still worked for the system. He still, because everybody knows a lawyer's duty, their first sworn duty is to the court. Okay. There's no disputing that. That is their first sworn duty. But he was a good attorney. He told me, he's like, I hate CPS. I think they're just a bunch of bureaucratic bullshit and it's just a kids for cash scheme. Like, he
Right.
told me that. He was 100% honest. He's like, I don't like them. I don't like what they do. I don't like, none of that. And he was
Right.
like, but let me be the asshole, because he knew I was not happy when I was in court. He knew I was pissed. He knew I was livid.
Right.
He was like, just smile and let me be the asshole. And I
That's
was like,
right.
when they come to my house, he's like, Becca, just, and it took everything in me, because these people have my kids and they have control over something that is mine.
Right. Mhm.
Those are mine.
That's what sucks. That's absolutely what sucks. And you know what's best for them. They're your kids. They know what they, like everybody knows what, but you can't. You just can't. Like you can't act out on that, and it sucks.
Yeah, and it's like, so you have to mind your P's and Q's, smile, and it's all a strategy game. It literally, if you are good at strategy games, you will 100% perfect it. Because let me tell you, I
Speaking of
cannot
that,
tell
Becca,
you, huh?
do you want to tell everybody what we've been up to
Oh, I'm the pro
on
se.
all of the
Oh,
stuff we got going on?
well, I mean, we're just a couple of busy bees around here, so we just keep things going.
Well, because we have the CPS Punisher app to help people
Yeah.
with their cases, so we already have that up. If you guys need to have help with that, go to www.thecpspunisher.com. That's an app for anybody that has CPS cases. It will assist you through all kinds of stuff. It's all AI driven. It'll create documents for you. It'll analyze your case. The thing's just a machine. It's awesome. You guys should definitely check that out. That's www.thecpspunisher.com. But then
I have been building the empowering parents on school community, on the school app. It's school community or something like that. Um, and it is teaching people everything that I have learned over the past 5 years. Um, and essentially taking it down to the nitty gritty basics. It takes it down to your town. Okay, to to like what kind of town you live in. Because I didn't realize how far this literally goes. Like the town you live in, like if it's a municipality, if it's a city, if it's a town, those are all different legally. And
Mhm.
but it teaches you there's ones about the Constitution. Um, what is it? What government is, how it's supposed to operate. What is the other one? The judges, the difference between a judge and an ALJ. Um, what's the other lesson that's up there? I can't remember at the moment. But it's just now starting, so I think I have like 2 lessons up there right now. But, and then Darren's been working on something else.
And we also have the Pro Se Mastery case program that we are putting out that you can do it at yourself at your own rate. It's got a bunch of stuff, but it also has a CPS module with it. It's got a bunch of documents, templates, all of these things that you can use in the courts. So all of this stuff, essentially, guys, we're just trying to build this stuff, and we're not overcharging anybody for stuff. We're not trying to make quick money. Like, honestly, this is the money that we're charging barely gets us by just keeping these things going. We're not trying to make money off of people. We don't thrive to make money off of people. We're not trying to get rich off of people.
Nope.
We're just trying to pay for this stuff to maintain so that we can provide this stuff out there for you guys.
Because
But
if
they're
everybody
all
could see the bills and the invoices that we all pay monthly
Mhm.
to, come on the streams and, make these apps and make this program and do this and do that and the information and all that, like, people would probably be blown away. It's like, "Holy crap, that's expensive." Yeah, it's not something that's like
We're not trying to be profiteers.
no, definitely
Yeah, I
not.
was just looking through my bills. This is what I pay and this isn't even all of them. I just had to pay Syllabi, Super Cool, CapCut, Canva, Suno, and Emergent. Like, I just paid all of those, and
Yeah,
most of those are 40 to 50 bucks at least. Syllabi is a little bit more than that. And that doesn't even have all of them on there. So I mean, just that alone, and then Restream is 60 plus the 25, so that's $100 a month for Restream. And then, like, all of this stuff is just it's a lot to incur, and especially since my house just got blown up, I'm definitely not in the position because insurance isn't covering things. I am not in any position like I used to be. Very, very, very much more giving, and right now, because I lost everything, I don't have anything to give. So this definitely would help if you guys would buy in on some of this stuff. Like, I can't even work now because I don't even have computers anymore.
right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like just a ridiculous thing. So somehow we've managed to pull through and get some things back up and running. And we're doing that. So if you guys want to look into these things and subscribe or whatever, I know that Becca's got the school and out the Pro Se Mastery course is almost done so that it can be put out for see, I think that starts at like $100, and that's for a lifetime membership, updates and all of that stuff. So, and the CPS Punisher app that has a free app that you can use it for free. And then if you want certain tools on it, it goes up the subscriptions. And I have a special going on that right now for $20 for the starter level. But I mean, it uses all these different AIs, so you can look up case law. There's just so much that you can do on the app that anybody has CPS in their life, they should definitely look into it and use it because it does everything for you. Creates timelines, is 1983 for you, has law libraries. I mean, me and Becca worked on that. She worked on the tail end of it with me, and we worked on it for weeks. I mean, this thing is packed and loaded with information more so than anything else that's out there. So make sure you guys check that out. www.thecpspunisher.com.
And also on the school, like I am so big on, I don't like to Darren always says this is one of my flaws because I don't like to charge people for money. This is not one of my things. And, but like mine is like I think it's like $10, it's $20 a month, I believe it is, or it's $5 a lesson. But it's like super affordable, super cheap, not something that's like, overly expensive. Like because I'm thinking on the low income spectrum of, could I afford $20? Okay, yeah, I can afford $20 a month, to get some education, 100%. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's more than that's way less than you'll ever pay on a college education. And Carrie says that she has an associate's degree in criminal justice. So, I mean, it's like, okay, yeah. Like, and how much did you have to pay and what doll did you get out of that? school is they don't I've come to the conclusion that even public schools don't teach you anything useful. I mean, they don't teach you how to do life, that's for sure. They don't
Yeah.
teach you the fundamentals, they don't teach you how to do your taxes, they don't teach you anything useful. They teach you how
Mhm.
to be obedient, work, and feed their system.
Yeah. Yep. We
And
should.
that's
They don't
exactly
even
what
have home
public school was
economics
designed
class.
for. That's what it was designed for.
Yeah, designed for the workday.
Yeah. Like, and
Um,
like it all blows my mind just to read some of the things I've read and just be like, "What?" Like, I never even thought that that's where that whole thing was derived from.
right.
Like, the sane asylums, like, they at one point, insane asylums were bigger than the hospitals
Yeah.
because they were
Yeah.
locking
They
parents
were
in
organizing
this.
that, and then the kids came to the orphan train.
Yeah, and the orphan trains, like, that's not a joke, that's
Crazy
real.
the stuff.
Like, people don't even
Mhm.
people can't even delve how much craziness that where this all came from. Like, CPS came it was started in the 1500s. The principles of it have started based on the 1500s. So, and it's just
Yeah. Well, it
evolved
started in the United States. Do you know how it came to the United States? Do you know what
with
the story
Christopher
of it is?
Columbus.
No, not with Christopher Columbus. They had the ASPCA was started, and the kids that were running around the streets
That's
and
right.
that were the orphans of New York and everything, the dogs and the animals were actually getting better treatment than the orphan kids were because they had the ASPCA. So some women came together and they said, "Well, we got to do something," and they started CPS. They started an organization that started taking the kids that were needy, and putting them in places. And that's where it came from. It stemmed from the ASPCA. Look it up.
Yeah, I know.
Look
I
it up.
remember once you said that, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's right, I forgot about that." Yeah,
Mhm.
from and literally
So,
still today, they even have associations with the animal shelters in your local
mhm.
area. So, because I was trying to figure out why they had like, why their agreement was had the animal shelter included. That made no sense to me. I'm like, "Why? Why would the animal shelter
Mhm.
be involved?" Like, that makes no sense.
All the funding. Yep, all of it.
And then I was like, "Oh my gosh," blew my mind. I was like, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me."
Yeah. So
From
there
the
you go,
history.
guys. That's it all. That's all of it in a nutshell. Um, I think it's time for us to wrap it up there, Miss Becca.
Yeah,
I
sounds
hope you
about right.
guys enjoyed tonight. Make sure tomorrow night. What do we got going on tomorrow night, Becca?
Tomorrow is, Classic
Sunday.
Corruption,
Yep.
uh,
She's
at
on Leslie's channel,
7:30. 7:30.
7:30.
Yes, not
Yep.
7, Darren, like you said the other night. And
Okay,
then gunning
7:30. My bad.
and then gunning for CPS at 9:30.
Yep. So make sure you guys check those out. They're good. Classic show is really great. She
This will be
talks
her
about
second show.
the life. Yeah, it'll be her second show. She did a great job last week. Of course, you helped her out with that. But she talks about how the life of being a foster parent and how it is and what it's like and so on and so forth. It's definitely worth watching. And gunning for CPS is always Gunner's full of piss and vinegar, and he's out there, doing it up. So make sure you guys check his show out too. But as far for us, I'm the CPS Punisher, and that's Becca. And Becca, I think we should rock it. Let's get out of here. All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. Keep CPS out of your life. Drive safe. Don't get drunk driving, all that good stuff. Take care. Until next week, guys.
In the shadows of the state, where the innocent are taken, CPS enforces chains, families left forsaken. They hide behind the badge of protection's hollow claim, but the truth reveals a system built on power and shame. We stand united now, no longer silent in the fight, exposing every failure beneath the glaring light. We're burning down the system, torching lies and deceit, fighting CPS corruption from the courthouse to the streets. Make it hard for the tyrants who tear our children away. Rise up with the revolution starts when the people open their eyes. Legal warriors marching, voices loud and clear. Accountability demanded, the end of systemic fear. To the parents in the trenches, to the fighters who persist, your stories feel the fire that no bureaucracy can resist. We have